What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and it's time to talk about the future and I guess the present of All Elite Wrestling. After AEW WrestleDream and that gorgeous ending where Mox just chokes out Brian and the whole arena just goes flat, just this collective gasp of shock that it's done. Brian Danielson is no longer a full-time professional wrestler. Brian Danielson is now going to get neck surgery and rest up, and Brian Danielson's gone. We have this new era of AEW, and I've been meaning to talk about this for a few days. I've just not found the time to sit down in the last few days. But it is a truly amazing ending to a truly incredible pay-per-view. It was honestly just unbelievable. Jon Moxley is the best in the world. If it's not him, it's Brian Danielson. I mean, Danielson's the best of all time. Mox is, in the world right now, the best wrestler. But it leads us into this incredibly interesting position for AEW going forward, and that's what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about just how good a position AEW is in going forward. Now, for a company that's only 5 years old, it does feel like AEW has had many sort of resets and soft reboots and like, I guess, new season premiere kind of things, and sort of general change in creative. It feels like they've had quite a lot of them, and maybe too many of them for a company that's only 5 years old. But with the recent news that Jimmy Jacobs was released from his contract on the creative team, and how apparently he was a kind of key factor in Takeshita getting stop-start pushes as he didn't get Takeshita, he is apparently the reason he got rid of the rankings and the wins and losses being displayed, which I'm not a fan of. As well as other things, he was kind of seen as Tony Khan's right-hand man and pushed a lot of things for him to do. And don't get me wrong, Jimmy Jacobs is a legend. I love the Zombie Princess, and I love Jimmy Jacobs as a wrestler. I think what he's done for independent wrestling over the years is nothing short of incredible, and his impact on the scene can't be understated. But if we're going to talk about his impact in AEW as a booker and a member of the creative team, terrorist. Obviously, there are still a lot of issues in AEW creative team, and there are things that can't be fixed immediately. But going from a kind of a period of ups and downs, I mean, AEW always smash out the park with the big show, but coming from a period where I've not really been watching Dynamite, and not just because I can't watch it live anymore, just because of my work, coming from a point where I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I don't really feel the need to go back and catch up on Dynamite. We've immediately came out swinging with two of the best shows in a very, very long time. And the direction the company is now going in is incredible. This sort of, I don't know what they're calling themselves, but this splinter faction that was birthed from the Blackpool Combat Club of Mox, Claudio, Marina Shafir, Pac, and Wheeler Yuta, just destroying the company, weeding out the weak in this company, rising everyone up to become the company it once was. That's such an incredible storyline, and it's such an incredible direction to take the company in. Mox, whilst the most despicable heel in the company, is doing this to make everyone else better. Mox has said in his promos that this isn't All Elite Wrestling that I love, and I'm going to do all I can to make sure that we get there. And whether that means destroying your favourite wrestler, whether that means putting Danielson's head in a chair and getting Claudio to stomp on it, running around killing Jeff Jarrett, I can't forgive that one, but everything else I can. It creates a position that's kind of unique to AEW. It creates a position that I don't think any company has done. Obviously, we've done the hostile takeover thing, and we've done this faction has all the belts, and this faction is we're doing this for the glory. You know, you look at the NWO, and you look at all and the Aces and Eights as well, to an extent. But with everything that Mox has said in every promo, none of this he's doing out of his own need to be the champion. What he's doing is to toughen everyone up, and iron sharpens iron. He's doing this to bring AEW back to the glory. It's basically the on-screen version of when Kenny Omega told the locker room that he wouldn't have hired half of them, or 80% of them, or whatever the number was. It's basically that, and this story, this can permeate through all the divisions. We saw how this works with the Elite, when they refused to get in the ring and then got called out by Daniel Garcia and Private Party for a trios match. We're finally getting Daniel Garcia on a run out with Private Party. That's fucking great. We saw that the Dark Order, who have been kind of presented as sort of non-threats and non-factors on TV for quite a while, They're even stepping up out of love for All Elite Wrestling. John Silver chased them out the building when they were driving away. Like, it sets up this incredible story, and I also think it's so important that they are not just being chased by the main event guys. It's so important to this story that the lower card guys who are going up against them, to give them a fight, knowing that they're going to get killed, that's so important to this story. That what they're doing, it doesn't just matter. It's not just for the cream of the crop. It's not just for the top guys in the company. This is a message to everyone that they are sending. This goes out to every single person on that roster. And the main character of this story is Darby Allin. We all know the main character of the story is Darby Allin, but Darby Allin has come close time after time to win the big one. He's kind of seen as one of AEW's biggest, like, homegrown stars, probably their biggest success. Probably the biggest success of AEW on TV is the rise of Darby Allin. He's got crossover appeal. It's easy to get. He's an incredible wrestler. He's not afraid to die. If you watch him wrestle, it's always the most insane shit ever. But Darby needs to dethrone Mox. But I don't think it's going to come at Full Gear. I think it could be Revolution next year. I think we could have, another 6 or so months of this story where Mox and Claudio and Yuta and Pac and Marina, they tear through every division and they make everyone step up. And the thing about this faction is they're heels, yeah, but it doesn't feel like they're only going to go after babyfaces. Editing Jake here. There was a bit in the video where I went to the AEW roster page to look at the champions, and I switched it over on my Streamlabs setup to just the audio, completely forgetting that I muted my mic on that setup to record stuff for other videos. Basically, what I was saying with that is, if I look at them right now, if I look at the roster, we have AEW World Champion Jon Moxley, AEW Women's World Champion Mariah May, TBS Champion Mercedes Moné, TNT Champion Jack Perry, World Tag Team Champions The Young Bucks, Trios Champions Claudio, Pac and Yuta, Konosuke Takeshita, International Champion, and Kazuchika Okada as the Continental Champion. All championships in AEW are held by heels, and I think, as much as it would be good to end the year with like a World's End or at a Full Gear, with a lot of these championship reigns coming to an end and the Dark Cloud beginning to lift, I think it's a lot more interesting if all of these champions retain them, maybe to Revolution, maybe even to Double or Nothing, and this Dark Cloud looms and everyone has to step up. And what Mox and his group do, go out with this story. Everyone is holding on to their titles that little bit tighter because of the threat of Mox and Marina and Claudio and Pac and Yuta. And everyone steps up eventually to a night where all the big baby faces win, but only after months of a reign of terror from all the divisions, or in all the divisions rather. I think that's a much more interesting story going forward for the company, to have this Dark Cloud loom for, another 6 months maybe. Could even be 7 if we do it at Double or Nothing. Having the Dark Cloud loom, and even if one heel champion loses their title, like a Perry or a Young Bucks, it still doesn't necessarily end the reign of terror. It still doesn't bring back this feel-good feeling onto the AEW roster. I just think it is a lot more interesting if we let this play out over a very, very long time. And maybe some of these heel champions lose. Maybe Marina Shafir kills Mariah May. Okay, maybe Jack Perry loses his title to an evil Wheeler Yuta, an even worse and even eviler Wheeler Yuta. Maybe Claudio takes the Continental Championship off Okada. There are so many things here, because this company, this faction shouldn't just be fighting heels, and I think that's such an incredibly interesting way to go forward, because why would they? In terms of faction dynamics and heel-face dynamics, they technically occupy the tweener space, because nothing about them is just for the faces to go after. The way that MJF's character is pretty much built to just wrestle faces because he's bad and he's evil and he hates them. and the Elite, they're, chicken shit heels, and they're, the little, they're in charge, and they're always changing the rules to make sure that they always stay on top. These guys, Mox and Claudio and co, they just want to fight. They want to kill. They want to prove. They want everyone to prove that they are willing to be there. They want everyone to prove that they should be there. They want everyone to earn their respect and blood. So everyone can get it from this faction, which is incredible. I mentioned earlier one thing that's going to be crucial to this story is lower or lower mid-card guys who are going to step up to save the company that they love so much, knowing that they are just going to get torn down, knowing that they are probably going to lose massively, just so they can chip away at the armour, so eventually the crown will fall. Eventually you can take the head off the snake in Jon Moxley. These guys that want to fight, knowing that they're going to get their ass kicked, knowing that they're probably going to lose, also that they can just eventually have one small part in bringing AEW back to what they believe it should be, and bettering themselves in the process. Iron sharpens iron, going up against all these guys. And I think when I made my tier list video on the men's roster a few months ago, with one of my big categories, I think it was called it Could Improve or something. But that tier of guys like a Griff Garrison, like an Action Andretti, like a Top Flight even, guys who are kind of in this sort of lower mid-card space where we see all this potential, but there hasn't really been a real good storyline reason, and I understand that it's storyline, you just have to write it. But now this kind of gives a clean slate for everyone. This presents the most effective and efficient real combat sport sort of basis for this, to give every single person on that roster a character reset and say, you go out there, you do what you do, and then you prove that you need to be moved up the card. Because people will complain, and they did complain when Griff Garrison wrestled Adam Copeland, because Adam Copeland wanted to wrestle Griff Garrison. And people are saying, why should Griff Garrison, who's not been on TV, have a match against Cope? Well, why not? But now, I understand that Cope wanted to do that, and that's, I think, was Cope, or was Griff in... What was Cole Carter doing? Was that the factory? Or the thing with QT? Was Griff Garrison in a faction? I can't remember why Griff Garrison wrestled. They gave us a very loose kayfabe reason that was like just kind of bullshit, and you just knew that Cope wanted to wrestle him, and that's fine. I'm more than okay with that. But doing this, where we just reset everything to zero, and in character everyone goes, this is how I make my money, this is how I make my living, and I'm seeing them try and take food off people's tables because they don't think they belong in AEW. I need to step up. I need to stand to that. I need to stand on what I believe in, because if I don't do anything, they're going to come for me, they're going to attack me, they're going to try and take the food out of my mouth, they're trying to take the money out of my wallet, they're trying to ruin my livelihood. This gives a reason for all these characters to step up. What if we look at guys like an Adam Copeland, or even a Samoa Joe, or maybe even like a Powerhouse Hobbs? These guys who, when they come back and they look like they're going to step to them, side with them, because they also believe that AEW is becoming a shell of what made it special, and they want to make sure that every single person steps up for the benefit of the company. Mox doesn't care about the title. Mox has the title because makes him public enemy number one, makes everyone come to him. He's carrying that title in a bag. It doesn't matter. All that matters to him is benefiting this company and bringing it back to what it once was, and I think that is such an incredibly interesting dynamic. The world champion doesn't give a fuck about the world championship. That is amazing. Ultimately, these next 6 months are going to be huge. These next 6 months are going to ideally shape AEW's direction for the next 5 years. These next 6 months could see guys like Hook and Orange Cassidy take the leap into the main event scene full time. These next 6 months could see guys like Griff Garrison, The Butcher, The Blade, guys like Toa Leona, or whoever take that jump into the main mid-card or the upper mid-card by just having a good show, and all because of this storyline that impacts every single member of the roster. This, from top to bottom, is one of the most intriguing creative decisions in professional wrestling in the last few years anyway. This is a story that I'm so excited to see play out over however long we're going to let this play out for. I'm just incredibly excited to see where we go with this, because to start off, we've started hot, and I understand that most bad stories start hot, but I don't think this is going to turn into a bad one. I'm so incredibly excited to see the direction this takes AEW and what this does for AEW's, not just the top stars, but guys lower down the card. like I said, whilst this is a storyline, this is a reason for guys like Peter Avalon, guys like Preston Vance, guys like Trent Beretta, guys like Wardlow, all those guys of varying levels on the card. But it's a reason for those guys, for us, a storyline reason for us as fans, and I guess also management, to go, show me why you should be here, show me why we should care. And I'm so fucking excited for where this takes AEW in the next 6 months. AEW, after these last few shows, have been absolutely cooking, and we'll talk about something I'm incredibly excited about soon. But for now, this story here, this main story, this evil bald man story, it's incredible, and I'm so excited to see where this leads. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new here, do subscribe. I talk about wrestling fairly infrequently, but I'm going to try and talk about it more because I'm in a better position to talk about it more. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of the storyline going forward. Let me know who you think is going to be the next guy to take this step up, even if it's not into the main event scene, even if it is just a guy like a Griff Garrison going from, oh, he's on TV every now and then, to Griff Garrison is a solid mid-card guy with the potential to then make that leap again and go up to the top. Let me know how you think, or what you think of everything that's going on in AEW regarding this story, regarding the company in general. Let me know that you hate AEW because your brain's broken and only one wrestling company can exist, because that's real. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. All the usual YouTube nonsense. Please, please, please do everything you can to satisfy the algorithm gods. See you next time.